Sliding all the way down, the final intact piece of human skin was made. Usually at this time, I shouldn't be dead yet. I can jump out of my skin and dance to liven up the party for everyone. After hearing his words, everyone suddenly felt chills running down their spines. Is this guy really a human? Too scary, just too scary. Jia Bang furrowed his brow with a hint of helplessness. TMD couldn't kill Evan Zhao in the safe area of the guild's headquarters, so he had to find a way to torture him. But now this method is totally ineffective against him. This guy may not just be a masochist, but rather a deeply twisted pervert and lunatic. Just as he was grappling with this headache, a sudden knock on the door outside. A younger brother, gestured by Jia Bang, opened the door. Yet the scene that appeared the next second made him feel like hearts were floating in his eyes, awakening his spring-like heart. Only to see the beautiful and charming Rachel Liu appeared here at this moment. She lazily leaned on the door frame and said, "You're on my turf. It would be impolite not to greet me first, wouldn't it?" Jia Bang clenched his fist without saying a word. How did this woman come here? Evan Zhao asked me to take a trip with him, Rachel Liu said, gently curling her finger. Evan Zhao's chair started to sway from side to side, moved forward slowly like a snail. Jia Bang dared not obstruct. He could only watch him leave in front of him helplessly. Later, Rachel Liu's fingers moved again, and all the ropes on Evan Zhao fell off. After Rachel Liu waited for him to come to her side safely. After Rachel Liu raised her head to take a look at Jia Bang, she said, "Who are you? I have never seen you on the 7th floor." Upon hearing this, the surrounding henchmen all stood still on the spot. The 7th floor is where the top combat power of the guild resides, a floor only qualified for elite players to live on. Although he was very unwilling, he understood that he was no match for Rachel Liu. He gritted his teeth and thought to himself, "I must endure it. This saucy lady is one of the top combat powers in the entire skeleton zone. Even if I am extremely angry, I must endure it. It doesn't matter who you are. Remember, I have no control over what happens in the dungeon. But if you dare to mess around in the guild headquarters, you'll be in trouble," Rachel Liu said with a mischievous smile. Jia Bang's face immediately turned extremely pale. The cold sweat on his body kept dripping down. The two of them then strode away from here. Jia Bang remained silent for a long time before waving to the yellow-haired man. Then he whispered in his ear, "Go ahead, keep your hands and feet clean, don't cause trouble for me." Meanwhile, Evan Zhao followed the other party to the room on the 7th floor. As soon as he entered the room, he rudely picked up a candy and stuffed it into his mouth. He also muttered that the view from the 7th floor is very good. Rachel Liu sat across from him, revealing charming curves under her open robe. "What's good or bad? Isn't it the same as down there?" Evan Zhao then dropped the candy wrapper and looked at the other person with interest, saying, "Go ahead. What do you want me to do for you by saving me?" This woman seems delicate and charming, but she is the top combat power of the guild. Just a glance from her can make the gang leader in front of her tremble in fear. After being rescued by her, Evan Zhao immediately began to inquire directly, "Come on. Did you rescue me to ask me to do something for you?" Rachel Liu took a sip of red wine and casually asked, "You look a lot like someone I know, Evan Zhao." Upon hearing this, Evan jokingly replied, "You're not my ex-boyfriend, are you?" "Haha, that's really him. I still have some unresolved issues with him. Why don't you just go find him directly? I killed him because he died." Evan Zhao is a bit curious why Rachel Liu did not respond. Those eyes, shimmering with autumn light, looked lightly at him. "Why, do you want to know more about me?" Evan Zhao rubbed his nose and said apologetically, "I apologize. I've let my professional habits get the best of me." The Angel of Oblivion had once come into contact with over 1,000 of the most terrifying and dangerous psychiatric patients. And you successfully treated their psychological traumas, leading them to fully recover and become normal individuals. Can you help me treat an illness as well since you are so capable? Evan Zhao's expression became serious upon hearing this. To be honest, your type of illness is hard to treat. You never asked me what illness I have. Although there are many complicated psychological disorders, the most difficult to treat are seemingly healthy patients like you. In my opinion, you suffer from a syndrome of being too clear-minded. It is even harder to treat than paranoid patients. Rachel Liu pursed her lips, her face full of anticipation as she looked at him. Dr. Zhao, you must be able to cure me, right? Evan Zhao sighed helplessly. It will take some time, and not a short one. The thing I have the least is time. If you can cure me, my dear, then I will give you a precious gift. Evan Zhao pondered for a moment, and then nodded in agreement. Although he was not completely sure that he could cure her illness, he was very interested in treating severely ill patients. When Evan Zhao was about to leave, Rachel Liu reminded him, Jia Bang doesn't dare to cause trouble for you openly in the big world. I have already warned him. Although he is arrogant, he is also somewhat tactful. However, the dangers in the dungeon can only be resolved by you. Zhao, who was returning to the room, saw a familiar figure at the staircase. It was Sugar Tian, holding her old teddy bear. She was very happy to see Evan Zhao, Boss Zhao. It's really great that you're okay. Nini said you were in danger, so she asked me to come and check on you. Evan Zhao smiled slightly after listening, then affectionately touched her forehead. Even when Evan Zhao's hand passed directly through the teddy bear while stroking, it didn't stop Sugar Tian from showing a happy smile. By the way, it's not early anymore. White Fan made some food. Let's go to his room to have a meal together. After Evan Zhao nodded in agreement, they went to White Fang's room together. The four sat around a hot pot eating meat. White Fan glanced at Evan Zhao and asked, Boss Zhao? Jia Bang didn't do anything to you, right? Evan Zhao shook his head indicating no. Was Sister Liu informed by you? White Fan chuckled bitterly and said, I saw you being taken back. Isn't that worrying? I have no background or ability to do anything. I can only go to the top guild bosses on the 7th floor, where there is only Sister Liu and an old player who can't open the door. Fortunately, Sister Liu is still kind-hearted, otherwise your days would not be good. After hearing this, Evan Zhao raised his glass and said thank you. Is there any news about the newly launched World Quest? Water Lucy nearby introduced that 6 groups of people went and 6 groups of people died. How many people in total? The dead bodies were casually abandoned at the station and have rotted. The scene of death is extremely tragic, almost unrecognizable. They seem to have suffered immense fear and pain before their deaths. Most troublesome. No messages have come from the dungeon, and no one knows what it's like. Evan Zhao is not afraid at all. Are you willing to go? If you don't, I'll go by myself. Upon hearing this, both of them were caught in a dilemma. White Fan first expressed his opinion, saying, Boss Zhao, to be honest, I also want to be as courageous as you. After all, those are 2 talent points. But the mortality rate of this quest is just too terrifying. I can't afford to lose. Water Lucy shared the same sentiment. Evan Zhao then turned to Sugar Tian and asked, Sugar Tian, are you going? Sugar Tian, who was busy eating, didn't seem to understand what Evan Zhao was saying, but still nodded in agreement. Water Lucy felt ashamed when she saw the situation. This little girl dared to go, but she didn't. After thinking for a moment, she changed her mind. I want to go too, she said. Since you have decided, let's have a toast. Wishing you all the best. After having their fill of food and drink, the 3 of them headed to the abandoned train station. The dimly lit platform was covered with broken, mangled corpses. Just this terrifying scene alone was enough to scare off some timid new players. The mottled rusty casing indicates the marks washed by the years. As they continued to delve deeper, system prompt sounds could be heard in their ears. Welcome to Platform 3. Please form a team of 5 to 9 people to enter the Grand World Quest. Resentment train needs 5 to 9 players for the Resentment World quest to begin, although everyone who entered died inside. But Evan Zhao still did not have any fear. He brought water, Lucy, and sugar tea on to the abandoned train station. From the system prompt, it is known that at least 5 people need to be gathered to participate in the quest. And at this time, there happened to be someone near the front of the train trying to recruit people. Just because there are many casualties, you won't give up on the quest, right? There are 2 talent points as a reward. Despite their strong promotion efforts, there were still no players willing to join. Soon, their gaze fell upon Evan Zhao, also known as Little Morning. Among the 3 who walked over, it seemed like the leader was the top-ranked new player, Evan Zhao. Uncle Wang Xulai quickly stepped forward and introduced each other. Evan Zhao had no problem accepting his team invitation. The other 3 people are Mia Li, who looks very quiet, Wen Brook, who is muscular and bald, and Sophia Qin, an old lady with white hair and a cane. After everyone was ready, they walked into the dungeon's light circle. Immediately, there was a burst of white light in front of their eyes, and they lost consciousness. A loud thunder sounded as rain fell with fierce winds. Evan Zhao woke up from unconsciousness. The car was filled with a scent of dust and an intermingling smell of rust. The spacious train carriage was incredibly empty, with the lights on the ceiling flickering constantly. The surroundings were nothing but cold and deathly silent, with no trace of other players. Evan Zhao looked around and arrived at the central aisle. Since Dungeon Quest requires us to unravel these resentments, we must figure out what happened here. He was about to explore when suddenly there came an eerie laughter in his ear. Evan Zhao ignored it and continued walking forward. At this time, he saw some pencils and a pencil case scattered on the seat. He picked up the pencil case and examined it carefully, only to discover that it was made of iron and deformed like this. There must have been a major incident inside the car. Evan Zhao looked around to see if there were any other things. He continued to walk forward, lost in thought. Soon, in the corner of the carriage, he found a backpack and a suitcase. When his gaze fell on the suitcase, the strange data reappeared. The suitcase is highly dangerous. You have enough curiosity, but absolutely do not attempt to open it. The backpack contains some elementary school textbooks and workbooks. There are also many colorful doodles by children on it. These things don't seem to have much value. Evan Zhao then looked toward the suitcase, as the strange laughter around him grew louder and louder. There was a voice repeatedly saying 3 words, "Open it." The voice seemed to possess some kind of magic. Evan Zhao's fingers involuntarily touched the zipper of the suitcase. But he smiled slightly and stopped his movements. Finally, he stood up directly, ignoring the sound. A small and eerie twisted black shadow behind him looked at Evan Zhao with extreme unwillingness in its eyes. "Where are you going? Curse you for breaking free from my manipulation." Not long after, Evan Zhao turned back and returned. Seeing this, the girl's pale face lit up with an excited smile. "Yes, that's right." Evan Zhao gently touched the black box with his left hand as he opened it. His right hand suddenly pulled out a shiny surgical knife. The surgical knife made a "pu" sound as it fiercely stabbed into the suitcase. Rotten blood oozed out along the seams. The black suitcase banged noisily, signifying the start of a violent struggle. Frantically wielding the surgical knife, he stabbed thousands of times. In the blink of an eye, the suitcase was torn to shreds by his relentless stabs. Congratulations on killing the vengeful ghost soul-bound weapon and obtaining reinforcement. Currently attempting to reconstruct the Eldritch meme at 0.02% progress. Reconstruction failed due to insufficient energy. Please keep trying. This time, in the reconstruction, you gained a strength 4 soul-bound weapon and acquired a hint of weak chaotic power. Finally dead, Evan Zhao showed a satisfied smile, with his face and body splattered with a lot of blood. The eerie girl behind him was scared to the core. It's too terrifying. She cautiously stepped back, wanting to quietly leave this place. But she accidentally made a loud noise. Her heart skipped a beat, with every breath held in caution. But Zhao, holding the surgical knife, slowly turned around. His face, stained black with blood, wore a strange smile, like a fierce ghost crawling out of the inferno. Seeing this scene, the girl was so scared that she collapsed to the ground, continuously retreating and saying, "Don't come near me! What on earth has come in this time? Why is it so ferocious?" A perverted man broke into the haunted train station. The ghosts inside were actually scared out of their wits by him. The suitcase in the corner was poked by him until the ghost inside was in a sorry state. The girl ghost trembled frantically, constantly retreating as the other person approached step by step. Her heart was in her throat. After Evan Zhao approached, he saw clearly that this ghost was a little girl. The girl, frightened, curled up in the corner, crying incessantly, "I didn't mean to harm you. I was also forced to." Upon seeing this, Evan Zhao put away his scalpel. Then he touched the other person's head, and a gentle and harmless smile appeared on his face. "Don't be afraid. I am a good person." The little girl raised her teary eyes and asked, "Really, uncle?" Upon hearing this address, Evan Zhao suddenly grabbed her by the neck. "I'll give you a chance to choose a different title." The little girl quickly changed her address to brother, to escape danger. Evan Zhao, with a face full of kindness, released his grip. "I asked you what happened on this train before." The little girl's face was pale, and her whole body was trembling. She answered that she couldn't say it out loud, as it is watching me. If I say it, it will immediately sense it. Evan Zhao squinted and asked who it was. The girl ghost shook her head, trembling even more. "The textbook taught me that secrets cannot be told to others casually. I'm a good child, and should not say bad things randomly." Upon hearing this, Evan Zhao looked towards the textbook beside the luggage. Then he turned around and picked up the Chinese textbook, threw the textbook into his storage space. He then packed other things into his worn-out backpack. He then returned the backpack to the little girl. "Don't throw your things around, or you'll cry when you can't find them later." The little girl was stunned for a moment, feeling a bit at a loss, and then hesitantly reached out to hold it in her arms. After doing all this, Evan Zhao turned around and headed to carriage number 5. The little girl watched Evan Zhao's back for a moment, then gritted her teeth and reminded, "Brother, don't go to carriage number 5. Evan Zhao paused for a moment, chuckled, and replied, "Got it." The girl ghost watched his leaving figure. The little girl stood motionless in place. She slowly shed 2 tears from her eyes. Evan Zhao arrived at the aisle between 2 train carriages, and then took out the little girl's textbook, turning to page 38. Inside, sure enough, there were a few lines of text circled in red pen, which happened to spell out a complete sentence. "The control room has the latest morning paper and maps. Starting the train requires diesel. Do not go to the driver's cab. It will keep staring at you." Evan Zhao is very curious about who or what exactly it is. Can only continue to explore for now. He then pushed open the door of carriage number 5. The scene inside also fell into his sight. Wang Su and Mia Li were seen being surrounded by 3 ghosts in the corner, shivering as if communicating something. The arrival of Evan Zhao made the 2 players instantly excited. "It's great that you're here. Please help us quickly." The 3 ghosts suddenly stood up. "Outsiders are not allowed to participate in the game unless you are willing to use HP as stakes." Upon hearing this, Evan Zhao touched his chin and began to contemplate. Mia Li nearby, seeing this, furrowed her brows and retorted, "What are you still hesitating for? We are comrades on the same boat now. It's too selfish of you to stand by and watch without saving them." Wang Su waved his hand at the words. "This game is not difficult. With your abilities, you should be able to complete it easily." Evan Zhao raised an eyebrow and glanced at the 2 of them. "All right, I'll join." Upon hearing this, the 2 of them also breathed a sigh of relief. "Damn," thankfully Evan Zhao agreed. Mia Li, this woman, acts like a princess, looking down on everyone she talks to. Evan Zhao soon arrived in front of 3 ghosts to inquire, how to play this game called Guess Guess Guess. Within 10 minutes, you must find out how we died before. You can ask a total of 3 questions. We will not lie in response to your questions. However, you cannot directly inquire about our method of death. After the quest fails, we will take one arm from each of them, and you will die. Evan Zhao responded calmly after hearing it, and understood it himself. Miali felt a bit uneasy seeing him like this. What's your attitude? Please take it seriously. I don't want to lose an arm. Wang Su's face showed a forced smile. Please. Evan Zhao squinted and smiled back in response. At this time, the vengeful ghost reminded greedily that the questions for the 2 of them have been asked, leaving only one final question. You better think carefully before asking. Evan Zhao touched his chin and thought carefully for a moment. Then I will ask you, do you desire freedom? As soon as these words were spoken, everyone present, including Ghost, was stunned. Miali angrily accused. Are you crazy? Just now, Wang Su, that dead fat pig, wasted 2 questions, and now you've wasted another one. Haha, with your level, I really don't know how you made it to the top. Evan Zhao ignored her directly and looked seriously at the 3 vengeful ghosts, repeating his question. Do you desire freedom? The 3 vengeful ghosts fell into silence. Desire, longing intensely, but freedom is no longer hoped for. A vengeful ghost unexpectedly let out a sigh. After saying this, his expression turned cold again. All right, you have finished asking your questions. Next, it's time to speculate about the cause of our deaths. If you guess correctly, you are safe for now. If you guess wrong, then we can only deal with it according to the rules. The man participated in the vengeful ghost's life or death guessing game. He needs to guess how the other person died in their past life by asking questions. If the player guesses correctly, there is no reward. However, once the player guesses wrong, both he and his companion will die here. Evan Zhao thought for a moment and asked a completely useless question. The vengeful ghost urged him to guess quickly after answering. Wang Su beside him was sweating profusely at the sight. How could he possibly guess this now? Mia Li's face turned pale. Don't kill me. It was the 2 of them who made the guess, nothing to do with me. The vengeful ghost slowly approached the group and said, Can't speak, then you shall all die together. At a critical moment, Evan Zhao stealthily finished inspecting the data of the 3 vengeful ghosts. He pointed at the leftmost ghost and said, You died from murder. The other party strangled you with the aim of eating your flesh. Then he pointed to the humpbacked and thin ghost in the middle. You died of asthma. There was no medication in the car, and you suffocated to death. Finally, he glanced at the vengeful ghost closest to him, who was the largest in size and resentment. You died by suicide. The 3 vengeful ghosts fell silent after hearing this. They stared at Evan Zhao for a long time before slowly speaking. You have completed the game. Now you are temporarily safe. Evan Zhao smiled and reached out to shake hands one by one. I am just like you all, eager for freedom and willing to pay any price for it. The 3 ghosts are all looking good, and there is a hint of light shining in their eyes. Evan Zhao then looked towards the path leading to the 4th carriage. By the way, I want to know what happened on this train before. Upon hearing this, the 3 vengeful ghosts remained silent for a moment before replying. There are no answers you seek on the train. You have to go out and find them, but the outside world is very dangerous. You need to have a ghost candle to survive outside of the train car. Evan Zhao replied with a thank you before heading towards train car number 4. At that moment, Wang Su suddenly grabbed him, indicating that he would also go with him. Mia Li on the side became agitated, stamping her feet and exclaimed, What am I supposed to do if you both leave? Wang Su's eyes flickered with a touch of displeasure. You can join us if you want. Mia Li chuckled after listening. Do you want me to go with you to court death? I finally found a temporary safe place. Do you think I'm foolish? As soon as the words were spoken, Wang Su frowned and said coldly, We are all in the same dungeon quest. Do you think you can just sit back and do nothing and still reap the benefits? Mia Lee's sharp and sarcastic retort. Are you getting impatient? Let me tell you, if you bring me in, you have to take me out. If the quest is not completed, we will all die together. Wang Su is shaking with anger all over, but still hasn't torn his face. Evan Zhao just smiled faintly and said, anyway, we're leaving. After saying that, the two of them went straight to carriage number 4. Mia Lee pondered for a moment and reluctantly followed up. As soon as she entered the 4th carriage, a bizarre scene appeared before her eyes. In the flickering dim light, 6 vengeful ghosts huddled together in a corner, trembling as if fearing something. Sugar Tian, seated across from them, was casually humming a nursery rhyme as if nothing had happened. After seeing Evan Zhao, she happily threw herself into his arms. Nini just told me that you would come to rescue us. I didn't expect that you really came. Evan Zhao affectionately patted her head after hearing it. Let me introduce you. These passengers in this train car were very enthusiastic just now and wanted to play games with me. But they stopped playing halfway through. How annoying. Sugar Tian mentioned it, and several vengeful ghosts showed their faces. One of them, a female ghost, was so scared that she just peed herself. Mia Lee behind her looked at the performance of these ghosts, and suddenly felt a bit unbalanced. This little girl is really lucky to encounter a few cowardly and useless ones. Evan Zhao did not pay any attention to her. He immediately scanned around to see if there was a way out. He found that there was a layer of membrane on the car doors that could not be broken by external force. It seems that these car doors cannot be opened. Obviously, Quest does not want us to take shortcuts, or the system rules are protecting us. You must obtain the ghost candle before considering leaving the train. At this point, he looked towards several vengeful ghosts and said, Stop shaking. I'll take Sugar Tian to the carriage. You guys can play by yourselves. Upon hearing this, the 6 vengeful ghosts became excited and knocked their heads vigorously in appreciation towards him. Evan Zhao rubbed Sugar Tian's little head and led her towards carriage number 3. Wang Su quickly followed behind him, jogging along. Walking at the back, Mia Lee looked disdainfully at those vengeful ghosts. Paw! A bunch of cowards. With that, she spat at the 6 ghosts. The ghost hit by her saliva immediately picked up its head. Its bright red eyes stared at her intensely. Mia Lee was so frightened that her whole body was shaking. She hurriedly and clumsily ran towards carriage number 3. She accidentally took a big tumble on the way. Her little face made direct contact with Wang Su's big butt. The beauty's face directly pressed against the man's big butt. The smell made her almost vomit. Mia Lee suddenly pushed Wang Su away and then kept retching on the side. Evan Zhao inquired in confusion what happened. Wang Su awkwardly smiled and said it's nothing. Next, Evan Zhao found Wen Brooke and Water Lucy in the 3rd car. He found Sophia Chin in the 2nd carriage. They both completed the Vengeful Ghost game in their respective carriages. The 7 of them then hurried to the 1st carriage without stopping. Welcome everyone. There are no seats here, only a blood-stained wooden table blocking the way to the driver's cabin with 6 gory heads placed on top. The scalps and skulls are horizontally split open, with 6 burning green candles placed in the center of the heads. The stewardess turns around, her neck broken with only a layer of skin connecting it, and gives a sinister smile to the passengers saying, Welcome everyone to Train D19. When Brooke first spoke and asked to play what game, the stewardess smiled weirdly and said, There are no games in this carriage. Previously, you were divided into 5 carriages. After completing the game, you can explore some hidden clues. Next, you can use the clues you have obtained to do more things. There are a total of 6 ghost candles here. Each ghost candle can burn for 1 hour after leaving the ghost's head. During this 1 hour, the person holding the ghost candle will not be attacked by other ghosts on the train. The ghost candle can also to some extent dispel the darkness outside the train and make the highly invasive ghosts in the dark perceive you as their kind. However, this does not mean that they will not attack you. After all the ghost candles burn out, the seal on the rear cabin will be opened. Upon hearing this, Brooke quickly inquired about what would happen if the seal was opened. The flight attendant shrugged, shook her almost broken neck, and said that it was no big deal. Just the train conductor and another unmentionable passenger will come out from inside. People present inexplicably feel a chill. It sounds like the train conductor and that unmentionable passenger are dangerous. It's best not to let them come out from inside. Also, I would like to remind everyone of something. Carriage 1's door is the only door on train D19 that can be opened. Once opened, you can go out, but things from outside can also come in. Okay, now you can distribute the ghost candles. The steward finished speaking and stood quietly there. Water Lucy endured the fear and disgust in her heart and looked at the ghost candle on the table. But we have 7 people here and only 6 ghost candles. How should we divide them? With these words, the atmosphere suddenly became more subtle. 7 people, 6 ghost candles. Those who hold the ghost candles can enjoy their protection, while others cannot. In other words, they must give up one person. Many people's eyes have quietly turned to the oldest person, Sophia Chin. The elderly woman naturally knew what several people were thinking. She slowly took out a gun from her bosom. Then she stepped back and created some distance. I want a ghost candle. If I don't get one, I will kill everyone who has a ghost candle. This old lady is ruthless. Brooke quickly waved his hand to change the topic. What are you doing? Aren't we all discussing here? Even though you are old, you are still part of this team. How can we abandon you? Sophia Chin stared at the others intensely. So how are you going to divide ghost and candle? After the words fell, everyone fell silent. Water Lucy gently pushed Zhao and asked if he had any good ideas. Evan Zhao smiled slightly, saying no matter how it's divided, there will always be someone without a ghost candle. But if you reverse the process, it's easy. No matter how the remaining ghost candles are distributed, the person who leaves the carriage to search outside for clues must take one each. This statement has gained the agreement of everyone. Those who contribute to the team can have priority to receive a ghost candle. Mia Lee made a sarcastic chuckle, casting doubt on whether he is contributing to the team or taking the candle to hide outside. I think he just wants to take a candle for himself without asking for it directly. Evan Zhao nodded in response, and then his hand slowly reached into his bosom. Suddenly pulled out the exposed bullet gun and fired 6 shots in rapid succession. Immediately broke both of Mia Lee's legs on the spot. Intense pain struck, and Mia Lee's screams continuously rang in everyone's ears. At the sight of this scene, everyone suddenly felt chills all over. Evan Zhao then walked up to Mia Lee to take a look. Why were you so careless and broke your leg? The people behind were a little speechless when they heard this. Evan Zhao pondered for a moment and then took out his soul-bound weapon, a surgical knife. Mia Lee turned pale with fright, screaming and looking at everyone. He wants to kill me! Why aren't you stopping him? The beauty had her legs shattered by a gunshot, despite her hoarse cries for help. But the people around her remained indifferent because only when she died, the ghost candle would be just enough to share with Evan Zhao, signaling her to speak more softly. Not ask me to perform surgery on you, I won't kill you. If you struggle too hard, you will poke other places in your mouth and bleed to death, then you can't blame me. Upon hearing this, Mia Lee struggled even more fiercely. But her meager strength could never compare to Zhao's. Evan Zhao chuckled, and then switched the scalpel to a pair of small pliers. He directly pulled open her mouth, forcibly pulled out the other party's teeth, and even cut off her tongue. Evan Zhao was too skilled when doing these things, as skilled as eating and drinking. Everyone shuddered at the sight. Mia Lee, without a tongue, could only make a trembling sound. With a face full of fear, she collapsed weakly to the ground. It's okay, don't cry. I'll help you stop the bleeding. You just can't speak, but you won't die. He turned around slowly without looking back at the other person, murmuring, "What a pity. Just now, a lovely young girl accidentally dropped her tongue, teeth, and both legs. Don't make such a basic mistake, everyone." Evan Zhao blinked at the crowd, and they instantly felt their hair stand on end. This guy is too damn dangerous. Most people give some kind of warning before taking action. Even when you're peeing, you should at least pull down your pants first, right? Evan Zhao just peed in his pants without a sound. Who the hell can tolerate that? Sophia Chen's eyes subtly revealed a hint of killing intent. Those rumors are indeed true. This person cannot be kept. But we currently need him to complete the quest, no rush to take action. Evan Zhao ignored the reactions of others and immediately went to the desk to take away a ghost candle. Water Lucy pondered for a moment, then hurriedly stepped forward to take one and walked out. Although she knew it was very dangerous outside, she firmly believed that it was safest to stay by Evan Zhao's side. When Brooke, also unwilling to show weakness at this time, took one from Evan Zhao. "Let's go explore together, the three of us. You can divide the remaining 3 among yourselves." The lovely flight attendant then opened the door for them. A piercing cold wind immediately blew in, causing a shiver among the people inside the carriage. Evan Zhao walked out first, and only then did he realize that the outside world was unusually dark. Without the ghost candle, they couldn't even see a meter away. Even with the ghost candle, their visibility was barely extended to around 10 meters. Several people returned to the station along the corridor. Water Lucy followed, feeling bewildered. "Boss Zhao, what are your thoughts on this quest?" Evan Zhao looked around while answering. "Did you find any clues inside the carriage?" Water Lucy carefully recalled that she had only been playing skip rope with a bunch of little ghosts. In the end, she cleverly won, and the little ghosts let go of her organs, although there didn't seem to be any special clues. On the side, when Brooke seemed to have thought of something. "I do know a useful clue. We need to go to a certain console," he said. Evan Zhao quickly corrected. "It's actually a control room. Inside, there is a complete map of the train station." The train station in Disorderly Realm is an abandoned station from many years in the future. Many areas have already collapsed and deteriorated. Moi Village is not a small village, with a sizable population, so the train station was built on a relatively large scale. Our ghost candle can only burn for 1 hour. To not waste time, we must first find the map. This is the clue left by the girl ghost in the 6th carriage. Message. Water Lucy curiously asked, "What can we do once we find the map?" When Brooke replied, "I reckon the way to complete the quest should be outside the station, so we need the map to find some information." Evan Zhao nodded and said, "Yes, the quest requires us to unravel the resentment. We first need to understand where the resentment on the train originates." Resentment originates from understanding what happened here years ago, and the conflicting relationships. Only by understanding these can we possibly complete the quest. I have asked several ghosts inside the carriage, and they all seem to be afraid of something, unwilling to mention what happened back then. This indicates that in a corner of the train, there is a terrifying presence that we cannot see, watching over them and us. So we have no way of understanding the situation from inside the train. We can only come out to search for clues, such as recordings, notes, handwriting, newspapers, or even testimony from Ghost himself. Upon hearing his explanation, Lucy immediately saw the light. One looked around at his surroundings. He found that this station was intact, and the control room should be in that direction. The 3 of them immediately hurried over there with large steps. A black shadow caught their eyes as they passed the corner. Wen and Lucy were instantly terrified to the core. Evan Zhao observed for a moment, and the mysterious data reappeared in his eyes. Security guard Ghost is extremely dangerous with no weaknesses. In fact, he is sleeping, and will only wake up if he receives a significant impact or injury. Most nearby ghosts are afraid of him. Hurry and escape as quickly as possible. After reading the information, Evan Zhao revealed a brilliant smile. Then he walked straight to the security guard Ghost. When Brooke beside him reminded him to be careful, as this ghost is very aggressive and might attack us. Evan Zhao, however, paid no attention to him. He fell asleep. He reached out and pulled the other person's nose hair without saying a word, then casually plucked out one. The security guard ghost suddenly sneezed, startling the two people behind him so much that their hair stood on end. "I swear, you woke him up. This extremely dangerous, vengeful ghost is sleeping." But the man walked over and plucked his nose hair. This scene immediately scared the companions behind so much that their souls almost left their bodies. Fortunately, the security guard ghost did not wake up. Water Lucy, and when Brooke breathed a sigh of relief. "How can you be so courageous?" Evan Zhao smirked when he heard that. "Don't talk nonsense. I've been timid since I was a child, that's why I'm so cautious." When Brooke was speechless upon hearing this. "Forget it, as long as it hasn't woken up, it's fine. I'll go open the door," he said, approaching the control room door. But after a few attempts, he realized that the door was locked. He turned around, intending to tell Evan Zhao. But the scene before him left him speechless. "WTF are you doing?" excitedly replied Evan Zhao. "Didn't you see? I'm taking his clothes off." When Brooke panicked and quickly took a few steps back, ready to run at any moment. Evan Zhao, this guy, is really not afraid at all, even with this fierce and vengeful ghost awakening in front of him. Maybe we should still run. With such heavy-handed actions, the security guards and the ghost will definitely wake up. Evan Zhao gets more excited as he digs deeper, his eyes shining brightly. He even throws the ghost candle aside. After stripping the security guard ghost, he proceeds to take off his pants. In just one short minute, Ghost the security guard was left with only a pair of printed underwear. Water Lucy is a bit worried. Although it's Ghost, I believe that Evan Zhao's sensitivity as a sparrow is still very high. He acted so aggressively that he might really wake up this security guard ghost. Seeing that the other party showed no intention of stopping, she quickly hugged Evan Zhao's waist and pulled him back. "Bro, let's stop fighting. Let's let it go. We still have things to do." After hearing this, Evan Zhao wiped the sweat off his forehead and said, "All right, let's let him go for now." When Brooke, who was standing aside, ran over in distress and said, "All we need is the key. You don't have to strip him of his clothes." Evan Zhao immediately fished out the key from inside his clothes, and then handed the clothes to Brooke to put on. Touching the smelly clothes is a bit disgusting. Asked him why he doesn't wear Evan Zhao's, he reluctantly replied that he's too thin and doesn't have the same physique as you and the security guard Ghost. Wearing his clothes and his sit adds to this. Having said that, Evan Zhao snatched the baton from the security guard Ghost's hand. He then stuffed it into Brooke's hand. "Ding! You have received an item, the smelly ghost baton, with unknown quality." It turned out to be just an ordinary baton. However, this ghost security guard always enjoys poking other ghosts' backsides with it. Every time it sees the uncomfortable expression on the other ghosts' faces, it feels a great sense of satisfaction deep inside. It seems that by doing this, it can alleviate the inferiority it feels about itself being small down there. Hitting the buttocks will receive a 500% damage bonus, and striking the anus will guarantee a critical hit of 10 times damage. Serious warning to some psychologically abnormal players. Please do not attempt to place such foul items in your inventory and bring them out of the dungeon. When Brooke saw the item displayed by the system and showed a disgusted expression. This seemingly powerful and majestic weapon turned out to be a poop stirrer. "Okay, hurry up and go in. We don't have much time left." After Evan Zhao urged, he took out the key and unlocked the door. At this time, the scene inside also appeared before the eyes of several people. Only to see inside the control room, there are several ghosts wearing station staff uniforms, staring at them like tigers. Water Lucy and Brooke were suddenly shocked. "Shouldn't we run away?" Evan Zhao, on the other hand, showed a vicious look on his face. "What are you looking at? When the boss comes to inspect, all of you go to the corner and squat down with your pants off, showing your butts. When Brooke behind him completely lost his mind. Are you crazy to speak to ghosts like that? Before he could finish his sentence, a shocking scene unfolded as those ghosts actually stood one by one against the wall. They lined up and took off their pants. When Brooke looked shocked with his mouth wide open and couldn't believe how obedient they were. Evan Zhao waved his hand and stood still. What are you waiting for? Hurry up and make a move. Remember to be steady when you act. Never reveal your intentions. When Brooke's hand holding the baton was trembling slightly. It's not good to hit Ghost's bottom. Evan Zhao showed a sly smile. Are you implying that you won't listen to me? When Brooke took a deep breath when he saw the situation. Then, he suddenly struck hard towards the first employees, but a loud slap sounded, and that employee ghost furrowed his brow slightly, letting out a sound that one couldn't tell if it was of pain or enjoyment. All the other ghosts looked over in unison, their faces unexpectedly showing expressions of anticipation. When Brooke felt uneasy being stared at by them and thought, what are you looking forward to? There's nothing enjoyable about this. Don't you dare look down. Evan Zhao then took Water Lucy to the control room. He quickly found the map of the entire station on a computer that was on. The station's top view is 20.5 m, with a detailed annotation of different building grocery stores within 3.7 m x 4 m and specific height data. But what surprises people is that this electronic map cannot switch to the front view, only marking the heights of various buildings. Rather than labeling a dense string of numbers, can we not make a front-facing map? This designer is crazy. Water Lucy couldn't help but complain a few words. On the side, Evan Zhao squinted his eyes and memorized all the numbers on the station map and the values of various facilities inside. But he found that the data for an underground warehouse was missing. That underground warehouse is the only building at the station that has no labeled data. After stripping the security guard ghost of his clothes, the man quickly found the map of Restless Ghost Station in the control room. But what puzzled him was that the data for an underground warehouse was missing. And the station only has a negative first floor in that area, nowhere else. It seems that the negative first floor was specifically set up for the construction of this warehouse. But this seems completely unnecessary. He then asked Water Lucy to see if there were any newspapers available. Water Lucy nodded and immediately started to act. Evan Zhao's expression gradually became more serious, as he had a somewhat unfavorable suspicion. He seemed to understand where the true danger lay in this game. A few minutes later, Water Lucy had scoured out all the newspapers. After taking it, Evan Zhao walked toward the door. At this moment, when Brooke was still immersed in the pleasure of hitting Ghost. It feels great. I've been bullied by these ghost things all the time. Today, the turnover surf will sing a song. I must experience more of this. Evan Zhao greeted with a shout and then hastily left. Afterward, the group changed to a different location to share the information they had obtained. After arriving at the destination, when Brooke was very puzzled why we came to the women's restroom instead of the men's restroom, Evan Zhao glanced at him, nodded, and said, well asked. Next time, don't ask again. In the awkward gaze of when Brooke, Evan Zhao took out a textbook and placed it in front of the two of them. Explain that this is a clue obtained in the 6th carriage. There are 4 sentences marked out deliberately in the book. When Brooke furrowed his brow with curiosity. Isn't our goal to uncover the resentment inside the train? Why mention starting the train? Could it be a small trick by the system to divert our attention intentionally? Evan Zhao shook his head and laid the newspaper open on the ground. It documented a terrifying disaster. In July of a certain year, following the usual practice, they did some renovation work on the various facilities of the station in preparation for the children from the village to return to town for school after the holidays. However, before the start of the school year, a terrifying disaster occurred. After a sudden black storm swept through Moy village. The next day, fiends appeared all over the village, cruel and bloodthirsty, accompanied by strange black fog that appeared inexplicably. They would linger in the shadows, and those dragged into the black fog would be assimilated and become terrifying fiends just like them. When people received this news, the outbreak of the riot was already quite serious. Fortunately, they still had 3 trains at the station. They can carry most of the people without cars to escape from Moi Village to Suspended Valley Town. Both the morning newspaper and the online news have called for most of the villagers. They rushed to the station to take the last train to leave this dreadful place. After looking at Winbrook, he started to analyze it seriously. It turns out that there were originally 3 trains at the station, but now only the one in front of him remains. This indicates that 2 trains have safely arrived at Suspended Valley Town, while this one has encountered an accident. Evan Zhao nodded and replied, "Not bad. I suspect that this accident is where their resentment lies. So we need to find out what the accident was." Speaking of which, Butcher's recording shows that Sun Bonnie was also on the train to Suspended Valley Town at the time. Could it be the same train? Just as he was pondering, a series of tapping footsteps suddenly approached. Immediately after, a dark figure holding a mop floated into the women's restroom. 3 people slowly turned their heads to look at her and found that it was actually a cleaning lady, but she was no longer human. Seeing 2 big men in the women's restroom, she seemed a bit confused. Did she take a wrong turn? Especially one of the burly men. That's the head of the security team. After a moment of daze, she turned around and was about to run. Seeing the situation, Evan Zhao chuckled and stopped. The person sitting next to me is the newly appointed security team leader. Dare to run? Believe it or not, he will use the stick in his hand to beat the shit out of you. The cleaning auntie quickly stopped in her tracks upon hearing this. Don't hit me. When Brooke pointed to the ground sternly and motioned to come and sit down. Upon hearing this, the cleaning lady swiftly ran back and obediently knelt down in front of the group. Evan Zhao patted her shoulder. Don't be so nervous. The new security captain just wants to ask you a few questions. Just answer them seriously. The cleaner nodded like a chicken pecking at rice. What exactly happened in the station back then? The janitor trembled all over when he heard his words, and said he didn't know anything, so don't ask him. When Brooke shook the baton in his hand and threatened, Don't talk. Do you want to be beaten till you shit yourself? The cleaner braced himself and replied through gritted teeth, Even if you beat me till I shit, I can't say it. It's been watching us all along. Upon hearing this, when Brooke and Water Lucy immediately got goosebumps all over. Evan Zhao furrowed his brows in contemplation. It seems my guess was right. Even here, it is monitoring us. Auntie's final question, where is the diesel storage room? The janitor responded. The original station used to have a diesel refueling station not far away. However, during station maintenance, it was dismantled for unknown reasons. But I recall there are a few drums of diesel in the basement. The basement administrator has a bad temper, though. It might be troublesome to obtain diesel from him. After nodding in gratitude, Evan Zhao let it go. Water Lucy was a bit curious, wondering if she was being too generous, feeling that this cleaner still had some utility value. Evan Zhao got up and said he didn't need it anymore. The basic plot of this quest has come out. The 2 of them looked puzzled at the words. What is the basic plot? Information obtained from the cleaning ghost. Evan Zhao finally figured out the basic storyline of the resentment train quest. The resentment on the train comes from the passengers who died inside previously, and what they want to do is to leave this place. So resolving their resentment requires starting the train, and starting the train requires at least 3 necessary conditions. The first is the train conductor, who must be able to control the locomotive in the driver's cab. The second one is to go to the underground warehouse to get some diesel. Curious when Brooke hurriedly asked what the third one is. Evan Zhao stopped in his tracks and hesitated, indicating that he couldn't say. If Singhua Shaochen says it, he will know. As soon as these words were spoken, both of them instantly felt a chill down their spine. So, is there really something that has been monitoring us all along? Evan Zhao nodded in agreement and said, Yes, but the good news is he is not fully awake yet. After he wakes up, we will all die. Water Lucy worriedly asked, and the auntie said that the manager of the underground warehouse has a very bad temper. Is it dangerous for us to enter there so hastily? Zhao explained that the reality is quite the opposite. If you know who is monitoring us, then you will understand that the underground warehouse is actually the safest place. Just as the words were spoken, an earth-shattering roar suddenly came from upstairs. Hearing this terrifying roar, the three of them, Water, Lucy, and Winbrook, were instantly filled with horror. Evan Zhao frowned and spoke solemnly. Time's up, Winbrook. You need to hurry back to the train as soon as possible. Winbrook scratched his head in confusion. Am I the only one here? Evan Zhao nodded, and then took out the shotgun from the storage space. The security guard woke up. You just took off his clothes, snatched his baton, and even plucked his nose hair. He won't spare you. Only following the rules can save your life. Quickly return to the station, hand Ghost over, take off your clothes, and give everything back to him. When Brooke was stunned after hearing this. These immoral things were clearly done by you. Evan Zhao frowned and quickly handed the gun to him, saying, Stop talking, there's no time. I'll lend you this hunting gun first. Remember to keep some ghost candles no matter what. Use as many as you can, but don't let them all be used up. When Brooke still wanted to say something. But at this moment, the heavy footsteps were getting closer. The angry roars were also becoming clearer. Evan Zhao quickly pushed Winbrook away from here. Ghost has already arrived at the hall. If you want to survive, follow my instructions quickly. One, who realized the situation, immediately ran away while cursing loudly. Evan Zhao, you old asshole, when you die, I will go crazy stealing offerings from your grave. Only at this moment did he realize that he had been tricked by Evan Zhao. What ill-fitting clothes, what bullshit excuses. This cunning bastard clearly had already anticipated that the security of Ghost would wake up, so he made me wear them. Looking at Winbrook and the security guard Ghost's bodies disappearing into the darkness in the distance, Water Lucy couldn't help but ask if he would die. Evan Zhao touched his chin and replied that theoretically he wouldn't die. Although the security guard Ghost is very powerful, his movement speed is just like that. Let's make good use of our time. The candle burning time for Ghost is only 1 hour. Within this hour, we must complete all the preparations. Once the train starts, we won't have a chance to make up for any deficiencies. After saying that, he quickly headed to the underground warehouse with Water Lucy. The ghost candle in his hand was getting shorter little by little. The ground also began to get sticky. The feeling was like stepping in blood and mud. He didn't dare to look down to see what he had stepped on just now. He hurriedly quickened his pace and followed behind Evan Zhao. At the end of the narrow corridor was a door locked with chains. Water Lucy curiously peered through the crack in the door. It seems that there is no one around except for a pile of shelves and dust on the ground. He was about to pull back his hand when a pair of crimson eyes suddenly appeared at the door crack. Water Lucy's spirit under the possession panicked and quickly retreated.